Hi, today we have Rebekah O'Connor from Mercyhurst University with us today. And I was, before I hit record, I actually was just going to say this, Rebekah, that this image here actually is one of my vivid memories of coming to visit Mercyhurst. And I think I've probably said this to you before, Rebekah, that when I was told I could park right in front of the big building right there and just park on the circle with I was like, are you sure that I'm allowed to park right there? I felt like royalty coming up for my visit. So anyway, Rebekah, welcome. I'm glad that you're here to share more about Mercyhurst with us.
Thank you. You are not the only person. I think seniors, when we poll them about what they're going to miss the most, this view is definitely on the list after all of the people and the
Yes.
professors and their friends and things like that. So yeah, I think today that we'll just kind of give you guys a nice overview of Mercyhurst and the application process, and make sure you know who to reach out to if you have questions down the line. So to start off with, Mercyhurst is located in Erie, Pennsylvania on a 75-acre residential campus. You can see a little bit more of campus in the photo there. For a reference point, we're about 100 miles from Cleveland, Ohio. Ends up being like hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on where you're coming from. So a nice distance. You're far enough away from home where you're having that traditional college experience, but close enough where you can visit mom and dad, or they can come out and see you for a weekend if you're feeling a little homesick. We're a small private Catholic liberal arts university founded in 1926 by the Sisters of Mercy. We currently have about 3,100 undergraduate students. Most of our students do come from Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, Western New York, but we do have 43 states and 54 countries represented across all of our programs on campus. So definitely a diverse campus for a campus that is, a smaller university, which is wonderful for our students.
Remind me, do you have any graduate programs on campus?
We do, yeah. So we have about 500 graduate students. Most of them are doing programs. About half the programs are fully online. Some of them are going to be on campus. We do have, just looking at this academic program slide, some 4+1 graduate degrees as well that students can do and just kind of transition their undergraduate degree right into those 4+1 programs. And a lot of them are ones that pair with any undergraduate degree too. So things like data science or organizational leadership, those master's degree programs that are really a benefit to any area, not always a really specific one. On the undergraduate side of the house, when you add up majors, minors, pre-professional programs, there's over 100 different combinations of things that students could do. We have a full suite of liberal arts offerings, so those traditional programs that you're going to think about, from biology to English to history, but we do have some really standout programs that we see students coming from all over for. You can see some of those on the right there, those programs like intelligence studies and cybersecurity, things like sports medicine and public health. I think we're all realizing just how important public health is as a program right now. Public health, our fashion merchandising program, we see a lot of students from Ohio come and look at that fashion merchandising program. The graphic design program was ranked 4th in comparison to other graphic design programs at schools like Mercyhurst this year, so really standout program there. And then I think that those more artistic programs are nice, that students can get that traditional 4-year degree focusing on dance and music. Mom and dad always like it because they're also getting that, kind of 4-year diploma that looks good for whatever comes after music and dance might be over. A lot of study abroad opportunities as well. We have a campus in Dungarvan, Ireland, so students go there every year. About 1 in 4 of our students take their studying off campus for a semester or portion of a semester, which is wonderful. All of the programs and more information on each of them specifically are on our website at mercyhurst.edu/academics. So always great information there. There's also contact information. Faculty have no problem when students reach out and ask questions specifically. And we're also happy to help facilitate that kind of conversation through the admissions office as well. I think we do a really great job at Mercyhurst, not just about giving students a lot of options academically, but about making sure that they are successful when it comes to whatever program they choose. That really starts with our dual advising model. So students, regardless of their major, are going to have a faculty advisor, so someone who teaches within the program that they're majoring in. And then they also have an academic counselor who's someone more on the staff side of the house, so someone who might be really helpful if they want to change their major or add a second major or minor, or if their GPA might be getting a little low and they need to make sure someone's keeping track of that so they don't, have any reduction in scholarship, or someone to make sure you're taking the right amount of credits. They work really well together to make sure that students are successful. We also do advising days, so students never register for classes without advice from their faculty advisor. Our Career Development Center is under the same umbrella as our academic counselors, and they really help students as early as freshman year to start working on things like, what does a resume look like? How do I interview? Starting to go to those, career and internship fairs. We have them on campus, but we also provide transportation for students. And we started using in the last couple of years a system called Handshake, which really allows students to kind of keep track of all those things. It allows our professionals to, kind of disseminate information really well to students. And it also allows employers to interact with students as well, which is really nice. We also have some specific programs then on campus too. We've got our writing center, peer tutoring that's available for any class. We have a language lab as well for students. And then we have our honors program. Students who are academically eligible for that program are invited to apply to it when they're admitted to the university. We have our learning differences program, which is specifically for students who have a diagnosed learning difference. So if you have an IEP, a 504, something documented where you're receiving accommodations in the classroom at the high school level, this would then allow you to get those accommodations in place at the college level as well. And then we have our Autism Initiative at Mercyhurst, or our AIM program. And that's really designed to help students who are on the autism spectrum be successful on a college campus. Not just academic support for that program. There's a lot of social support that happens. They make sure that students on the res life side of things feel comfortable at home on campus. They do a lot of career development opportunities for them, trips as well to kind of get them, learning how to be comfortable outside their comfort zone. So that's a great program. That the AIM program is application based, so it is something where students need to make sure they're applying on time to get into that program, because there are limited spots each year. The honors program and learning differences a little different as far as that goes. Our students do live on campus. Other than our Erie County, Pennsylvania students, we are a residential campus. So we have a lot of amenities and a lot of ways that students can get involved. We've got 6 dining facilities on campus, most of which were renovated within the last couple of years, which is great. Our students have unlimited meal plans that they can use at them. They can also, with that unlimited meal plan, in one of our little convenience store areas on campus, they can get meal prep boxes and, sort of like those, all of the meal prep kits that you can get to kind of, go that direction. So our students don't necessarily have to use it in a dining facility as well, which is kind of a unique thing that we just started this year for students. We have 3 freshman residence halls. Our freshmen do live on campus. And then we have upperclassmen apartments. So students don't feel like they're living in a traditional residence hall for 4 years. As they're ready for more flexibility and freedom, residence life kind of changes and follows suit with that. And then we have a really involved student body on campus. So performing arts, dance, music, theater. We have our Laker athletics, men's and women's ice hockey's Division I, then 23 additional Division II sports teams. And then we have every year 90 plus recognized student clubs and organizations that are active on campus, whether it's academically related to your major, whether it's an intramural athletic team, or whether it's something that you just want to do for fun. It's a great way to, kind of have that balance between school and life on campus, which I think is really wonderful. Plus, you do a lot of learning when you're involved in those clubs and activities that you don't necessarily realize you're doing until you go to build that resume as a junior or senior, and you realize you have a lot more impressive things to put on there. You've made a lot more connections than you've realized, which is wonderful. All of that sounds great. So now we want to tell you how you can, kind of join the kind of wonderful student body that we already have. We're a rolling admission school, so that means there's no hard deadlines that you have to worry about throughout the process. We may send you emails with priority deadlines, but it's really just to kind of let you know, if you send us your information by this day, we'll send you a decision by that day. It does not change your eligibility for financial aid. It doesn't change your eligibility for, amounts of scholarships or anything like that. To complete your application, in order for us to review it, we need you to send us your official application, whether that's on our website or the Common App. We're happy to receive either and have no preference on either. We need your high school transcript, writing sample, letter of recommendation, and then SAT or ACT test scores or a test optional consideration form. I think that more and more schools this year are test optional than ever before. Was not a change in our admissions process though. So it's something that we are well versed in reading and reviewing applications and admitting students with or without test scores. One of the nice things is we still consider students for the same types and the same amounts of scholarships with or without test scores. So we are happy to let students kind of decide the best set of information that makes them, kind of gives us the best picture of them as an applicant to the university. This is a basic look at what our incoming students look like, about a 3.4 GPA, and that is weighted. So if students take honors, AP, CCP courses, and that boosts their GPA, we are happy to, kind of look at that number. Whatever number's highest, we want to give students the benefit of having gone above and beyond that traditional level. If students decide to submit test scores, about a 1070 on the SAT, 23 on the ACT are averages, and those numbers can be super scored. So if you do end up taking the test multiple times, we will give the student the highest possible combination throughout, all of those tests that they have taken. I had mentioned CCP courses. AP, CCP, very easy to transfer credits in. I know that that's always a question if you're looking at a school out of state. Do my CCP courses count? Yes, absolutely. As long as you got a C or higher in that class, you can bring it to campus as credit. 4 or 5 on the AP exam gets students credit on campus. So I'd say more and more we have students who come in with maybe 2 or 3 college credits under their belt, which is wonderful. Helps give students a head start if they're thinking of double majoring or having a minor to go along with that major. It's a really, really great way for you to kind of bring those in and not have to take those kind of classes on campus.
And Rebekah, are the majority of students applying test optional then, or are you still seeing students submitting scores?
Through last year, we were still seeing the majority of students submitting scores. I'll say this year, we just started reviewing applications a couple of weeks ago, and there are by far more test optional students this year than ever before, at least from my reviewing history. And I think that that'll probably continue throughout the admission cycle. I think early on, maybe we had more than we will later on, just because students might not have been able to take the ACT or SAT yet. But I do think this year will probably be the heaviest test optional year that we've seen since we've gone test optional. I had mentioned kind of a little bit of the affordability factor when I had said that our students with or without test scores are considered for scholarship, so it does not hurt a student to go test optional, and 99% of our freshmen qualify for financial assistance from Mercyhurst, whether that's merit scholarships, which students are awarded right when they're accepted, or whether it's need-based scholarships and grants that are awarded if students file the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. We don't need them to fill out any additional applications for merit scholarships. Application to the university serves as merit scholarship application. FAFSA serves as application for need-based scholarships and grants. So that combination of factors has Mercyhurst, with one of the lowest net tuition rates in our region. It's when you look at those sticker prices, they're always intimidating, but we encourage students, no matter if it's Mercyhurst or another school, to get through the process, especially if there's no fee for an application and they don't really make you fill out a bunch of extra applications. See what that net price looks like after you get through the financial aid process. So I do work with all of our students from the state of Ohio, so we're always happy to have you reach out individually. We work with students the entire way through the process. So the whole way from, sort of your initial search to filling out the application to, asking those questions about financial aid. We think it's easier on a student's end if they know one person to kind of reach out to throughout the process. So we're always happy to, answer those questions. If we don't know the answer, we're always happy to find the answer for you and make sure you get it. But it's nice that you can kind of stick with your point of contact and kind of work through the process. So
do you guys conduct interviews, Rebekah?
So we don't require interviews. We, when students come to campus, we do meet with them individually. We allow students to share whatever information they'd like, whether that be in that individual one-on-one meeting or whether it be, in some point in their application, but interviews not required through the admissions process. No.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. And my last slide's just questions, which you've been asking as we've been moving on. So anything else that I didn't hit on, Kristina, that you think would be good for students to know?
I think I would encourage anybody that is interested in Mercyhurst to do exactly what Rebekah's saying in terms of reaching out, because especially places like Mercyhurst, the individual attention piece, what you're seeing in the admission end, I think is truly what you're going to find if you enroll at the institution. So I think it's good to get to know Rebekah if she's the right admission counselor for you, for your area that you're coming from. But I think one of the things I was going to ask about just briefly, Rebekah, is in terms of the application process. So once students, obviously once they are accepted, they're getting their scholarship information, it sounds like, right away. Mm-hmm. And obviously they've got time. So in between, do you have any advice about other ways that they can explore Mercyhurst even from afar right now? Once they've been admitted, are there specific things that you would encourage students to do to learn more besides a general open house or visit?
Yeah, absolutely. So this fall, we are doing a lot of cool virtual events that are a little bit more specific, knowing that, there's a ton of information online and there's a ton of, individualized ways to, kind of get that general information, but the specifics, interacting with faculty, current students, those are the things that are harder to, kind of do, at least at this point. So we have on our website, mercyhurst.edu/visit, you can see all of these opportunities, but for some of those specific majors that I had as far as the, kind of really standout programs, we've got we used to call them day-in events. They're not a whole day anymore. They're program spotlights now. They're about 45-minute long sessions where students will get to hear from faculty and current students, ask questions. We're going to do similar things with some of those outside the classroom activities, things like the honors program, campus involvement, community engagement. ROTC is one of them, where we're going to, the aim and learning differences is another one we'll do a program spotlight on, that are going to allow students to just specifically dive deeper into those areas that you're specifically interested in. We're also happy to arrange individual visits that include one-on-one conversation with faculty, one-on-one conversation with students as well. So anything, and this was sort of our model when we were doing all of this on campus as well. Any information that you need to sort of make that well-informed decision, we encourage you to talk to people outside of our office. We want you to interact with students. We want you to interact with faculty. We want you to interact with, kind of staff who's running that Learning Differences program, because those are the people who, yes, we love interacting with you, but once you're a student on campus, we don't see you nearly as often as when you're still a high school student. So we want you to interact with the people that you're actually going to interact with when you are a student. And so anything, individualized that, say, oh yeah, I'm really interested in that day in cybersecurity, but that day and time doesn't work for me. Can I still chat with the professor? Absolutely. We can arrange an individualized thing for you. The faculty have been really wonderful about, still wanting to engage with prospective students, even if they can't give you a tour of the lab and kind of show off, what they would normally otherwise. But yeah, I think that's, interacting with faculty is a great way to kind of fill that time and help make your decision. And then I think too, it helps you meet students who potentially could be in the class with you. I think that sometimes that's the hardest part about the fact that we're doing so many virtual things right now, is not necessarily the college search part of it, but the connecting with people that you might be with on campus. So these virtual events, because they are kind of casual conversation, they're not webinar style. So, you would get to see who else was in the meeting. You would get to, potentially interact with those students. It also helps, I think, from that perspective and engaging you as, who you would be engaging with on campus as a student.
Great. I have one question that's actually not even related to anything right now that we're talking about, but something about Mercyhurst that I think sometimes we will get questions from students about this. It's a Catholic institution. Tell me or explain to us how that ties into the community at Mercyhurst, and would non-Catholic students, for example, would they feel welcome on campus? How would that be for them, that experience?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because sometimes students, I think if I'm not Catholic, I can't apply to a Catholic school. Right. And that's absolutely not the case. Only 40% of our students actually identify as Catholic on their application when they apply. So more than half of our students on campus are not Catholic. So the majority are not. I think the biggest way it comes through in our campus community is that I had mentioned the Sisters of Mercy founded our school. Their big thing was service. So that's really where it comes through the most on our campus community. And I think service is a very non-denominational thing. I think that right now we have students who are all very active and all really want to get involved in things like community service. And that's open to anyone. And I think that's really the biggest way. And I think too, sort of that open and welcoming environment is something that they were all about as well. And that still comes through on campus. Students are not required to participate in any mass or campus ministry, but it's there for them if they want to participate in it.
Sure.
And students in their curriculum will take one religion course, but it's not designated what religion that course is about. So yes, it could be a Catholic studies course, or it could be a world religions class where you learn a little bit about a bunch of different religions, or a deeper dive into, a religion that you've always wanted to learn more about. So definitely a lot of choice, a lot of flexibility, no requirements, and I think definitely an open and welcoming campus for students of any faith.
Okay, thank you for that, because that is a question sometimes we get, and I think sometimes and students wouldn't necessarily maybe realize that so many institutions in our country were founded by some kind of a religious order, and so it can feel a little bit intimidating if you hear that, the background of the institution. But to your point, I think most institutions now are exactly like Mercyhurst in that it's based on an idea, like the service piece. I agree with you 100%. Every student on campus should be interested in the service piece. So I think that crosses denominations, definitely. So, well, thank you, Rebekah, for taking the time to spend with me today and share more about Mercyhurst. I know this is a busy time in your schedule, and you guys have a lot of work to do this year in this crazy recruitment cycle. But fingers crossed, everything will get back to normal by the time our current seniors are enrolling next fall. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, it sounds like things are going well on campus. So that's good news. So, well, thank you, Rebekah. I appreciate it.